when a girl who was 4'9" looked all the way up at me and said, "Hey, skyscraper." I initially assumed she was talking to somebody else. So I looked behind me, nobody, then back down. She was standing directly in front of me. Tiny dark hair, almost to the middle of her back. Big brown eyes, black skirt, white t-shirt, and a jar of green olives in her hands. She lifted her chin. Lower. I looked down farther. Oh, very funny. I didn't say anything. She pointed toward the highest kitchen cabinet. I was told you're useful. By who, Jake? That's already slander. Can you get it? What? The jar. I looked at the one she was already holding. You have one. These are green. And I need black. Serious emergency. Pizza does not tolerate compromise. I reached up and took the jar from the top shelf, handed it to her. Thanks. You're welcome. She took it, then narrowed her eyes suspiciously. And don't smile. Why? Because you're thinking about how short I am. I looked at the cabinet, then at her. No. You're lying. I'm thinking the cabinet is too tall. She froze just briefly. Then one corner of her mouth lifted. Good answer. Was that a test? Maybe. And 1 point. Out of how many? You'll never know. That was how I met Lily Bennett. I was 28, 6'5", about 6'5" on a good posture day, and still 6'5" when every stranger asked whether I played basketball. Lily was 4'9". The difference between us was so obvious that most people noticed it before anything else. Whenever we stood together, strangers generally had one of three reactions. 1, oh my God, the height difference. 2, do you play basketball? 3, where does she even come up to on you? That last one usually earned a very cold look from Lily. But that first night, neither of us knew that a few years later our friends would be telling the olive jar story at our wedding. Back then, it was just a party at Jake's place. He appeared about a minute later. You met. Lily held up the jar. Yeah, he works as a crane. I said hourly rates. How much? Expensive. Then I won't ask again. 10 minutes later, Ethan. I turned. She was standing by another cabinet already. This is the last time. Of course. The glasses are up there. Are these cabinets deliberately designed to punish you? Apparently Jake has a personal war against short people. From the living room, I can hear you. Lily shouted back. Then fix it. I got her a glass. She took it. Thanks. Second point. Don't get cocky. We started talking. Not because the height difference was particularly interesting. If anything, after half an hour, we mostly forgot about it. Lily was fast. If you gave her a lazy answer, she would catch it immediately. Do you like movies? Sometimes. Powerful opinion. You. Yes. All of them. No. I'm not a psychopath. That's reassuring. She argued with Jake about what movie to put on, with Sophie about how much hot sauce belonged on pizza, with me about whether pizza was a legitimate breakfast. Obviously no. It has bread. Very scientific. Cheese. Go on. Vegetables. Pepperoni is not a vegetable. I didn't say pepperoni was the vegetable. You pointed at it. I gestured generally. She looked at me. Very weak defense. Jake was staring at us. I noticed. What? He raised both hands. Nothing. Lily looked too. Why do you have that face? What face? Like you've already decided something. I'm literally saying nothing. Sophie smirked. He thinks you two are already flirting. Lily, we've known each other for 40 minutes, I said. That doesn't rule it out. She turned toward me. You think we're flirting? A little. Confidence. Am I wrong? Pause. Maybe. Jake quietly. Excellent. Both of us. Shut up. The whole group started laughing. That was one of the things I liked most about our friends. Nobody turned it into drama. Nobody treated attraction like competition. We had the kind of group where people were genuinely happy if two people started liking each other. They would make fun of you constantly but kindly. At the end of the night, somebody wanted a group photo. Everyone lined up. I ended up in the back, Lily in front. The person taking the picture said Ethan step back a little. Lily looked up. No, make him kneel. I said, very dignified. I want my face and yours in the same photograph. My face will still be in it on the top floor. Jake said, that's going to be their wedding photo. Lily, shut up, I said. Seriously, Sophie said. You even answer at the same time. Lily turned around. You're all awful. But she was smiling. A couple weeks later, we all met again, then again. Board games, barbecues, movies, a small music festival, and somehow every time I ended up next to Lily. Sometimes our friends helped. Sometimes they didn't need to. During board game night, Jake said, "Ethan, sit there." I looked at the seat beside Lily. Why? Everything else is occupied. There were 3 empty chairs across the table. I pointed. Those, he said, visually occupied. Lily covered her face. Oh my God. Sophie, just sit down. I sat. Lily said quietly, "I'm sorry." For what? Our friends. Mine are the same. They're the same people. Then the problem is systemic. She laughed. That night, I discovered Lily was absurdly competitive. She lost 2 rounds to me. By the 3rd, "You're cheating." "No. You're winning too much." "That isn't evidence." "It is to me." "Want to switch seats?" "Why? Maybe this side of the table is lucky." She stared. "Don't make fun of me." "I never would." She won the 4th round, lifted both hands. "Yes." I said, "Congratulations." Honestly, very. "You let me win." "No." She narrowed her eyes. "Good." Then added, "Because if you did, I'd kill you." I believe you. Lily joked about her height before anybody else could. But I learned quickly that there was a very big difference between Lily making a joke and some stranger deciding her body was public comedy material. At one barbecue, a friend of a friend showed up. Saw Lily. "Oh my God, you're so tiny." She said dryly, "Yes." I attended the measurement. He laughed, then looked at me. "Next to him you look like a kid." The smile disappeared from Lily's face. I answered calmly, "I'm tall, when she isn't here too." He blinked. "I'm just joking." Find a different joke. There was maybe a 2-second silence. Jake smoothly cut in. "You want a beer?" The guy moved on. No scene, no fight. Later, Lily was standing beside me. "Thanks." For what? For not turning that into an even bigger thing. There wasn't much to discuss. She looked at me. A lot of men start defending me like I'm 5. That would be weird. Very. If you want to tell somebody to go to hell yourself, you're capable. Thank you. But if he keeps going, I'm allowed to talk too. She smiled. Deal. That was probably the first time I started seriously falling for her. Not because she was 4'9", not because our height difference looked funny in pictures, because Lily was such a complete person. She never asked permission to take up space, even though physically she didn't take up much of it. She spoke loudly when she had something to say. She did not need everybody to like her. She loved her friends fiercely. She remembered small things. If Sophie mentioned liking some specific dessert a month earlier, it showed up on her birthday. If Jake complained about having a horrible week, Lily was the first person texting you alive, then showing up with food. Same with me. Once I mentioned I hated raisins. 3 weeks later, she brought cookies. No raisin. I looked at her. You remembered. That's critical information. Very important. Raisins destroy trust. And somewhere around then I realized I had started waiting for our group nights, mostly because I knew she would be there. Jake noticed before I said anything. We were standing in his kitchen. He said, "You like her?" "Yes." He stopped. "You're not even going to argue." "Why would I?" "People usually pretend. I'm 28. Very mature." "Thank you." "So you going to do something?" "Yes." When I'm sure she's interested too." He laughed. "Brother." "What?" "She found 3 reasons to call you across the room tonight. Upper shelves. Yesterday, she asked you to open a bottle." "That happens." "She had an opener." I looked at him. "That's more interesting." There you go. Meanwhile, Sophie was apparently having basically the same conversation with Lily. I learned about it later. "He likes you, Lily." "Who?" Clears throat. "Ethan." "Maybe." "Maybe." "Yes." "You're convincing. He's attractive and funny." "Continue." "And he doesn't make my height weird." "Sophie, you're done. Shut up." Sophie eventually texted me directly. "Lily likes you. Do something." I replied, "She can speak." Sophie, "Yes. Right now, she's being stubborn." I noticed. "Seriously, Ethan." I wrote, "Don't worry." She replied, "Now I'm more worried." The first actual romantic moment happened at the festival. There were too many people. Lily stood beside me, stage ahead. She could see approximately nothing. 2 tall guys moved directly in front of us. She stared at their backs. Excellent. Can't see. I can see 2 very detailed shoulder blades. Come on. Where We'll find somewhere. We moved around the crowd. There was a low stone platform off to the side. I pointed. There. She looked. That's high. I can help. She looked at me. I asked, can I… What? Lift you up. Her expression changed immediately, a little surprised. Yes. You sure? Yes. I put my hands at her waist and carefully lifted her onto the platform. She sat. Now she had a perfect view. I stood beside it. Lily looked down at me. For once, the situation was reversed. Oh, I said. What? Finally. What? I'm Teller. Enjoy it. She laughed. A few songs later, she leaned closer. Thank you. For the spot? For asking? I understood. People just grab you sometimes. That's weird. Especially men. Even weirder. She watched me. You really understand why that bothers me? Of course. No, I mean, a lot of people say, you're tiny. What's the big deal? You're an adult woman. Exactly. Height changes nothing. She smiled. Third point. Only third. I'm strict. Later that night, walking back toward the cars, she suddenly said, lean down. Why? Secret. I bent lower. I have a spine. You'll survive. I leaned farther. She kissed my cheek quick, then stepped back. I straightened. That was the secret. Not anymore. Dangerous strategy. Working. Very. She smiled and walked toward the car. I stood there for a second. Jake appeared beside me. Are you blushing? No. At 6'5", does the blood take longer to reach your face? Go away. He laughed the entire drive. After that, the flirting became obvious. Lily would walk up. Hey, tall guy. What? Give me your hand. Why? Stairs. That isn't how stairs work. Now it is. And she would stand on the lower step holding my hand. Or, you useful today. Depends. Get that box. Only the box. She'd look at me. For now, I stopped pretending I didn't understand, but I wanted a normal moment. It happened after another party at Jake's about 2 months after we met. Everybody started leaving. Lily and I stayed to help clean. Then Sophie said Jake and I urgently have to go out. Lily looked at her. You live here, Jake. Exactly. Where are you going? To get ice? I opened the freezer. Full bag here. He closed it. Different ice. Lily said, oh my God. Sophie said, we'll be back. And they left. Silence. Lily put down a plate. They're terrible. Very subtle. They think we like each other. I said, they're right. She froze, turned around. What? I set down my glass. I like you. No circles. Lily stared. Since when? A few weeks, definitely. And you said nothing. I was almost sure you liked me too. Confident? Was I wrong? Pause. She shook her head. No. I moved closer. She tilted her head back very far. You planning to kiss me from up there? I'm evaluating the logistics. Lean down. I did. Lower. This is becoming humiliating. She put her arms around my neck. You'll survive. You always, this bossy, when it's efficient. She kissed me first. Soft short, then pulled back. Looked at me. I said, that it, test results. She kissed me again longer. I put my hands on her waist. She leaned closer. When we finally separated, Lily was smiling. Positive. Good. And right then the door opened. Jake and Sophie walked in, stopped. Sophie looked at Lily, then me. Finally, Lily said, you were standing outside. Jake said, no. I said, you're terrible at lying. He said, fine a little. Sophie went over and hugged Lily. I'm happy. Jake clapped my shoulder. You did it. I said, she actually did most of it. Lily said, correct. Sophie said, obviously. Nobody made it awkward. They joked for 5 minutes. Then Jake got serious and said, but actually, I'm happy for you guys. Lily looked at him. Thanks. You've both been circling each other forever. I said, 2 months isn't forever. Sophie said, for us, it was. I planned the first actual date properly. No friends, no group chat. I picked her up. She opened the door. Dark blue dress hair down. I looked. She caught me. What? You look incredible. No joke. She got slightly shy. Thank you. I handed her flowers. Those for me? No, your neighbor. Very funny. She took them. I like them. At the restaurant, they initially put us at a bar height table. Lily looked at the stool, then at me. No. What? This furniture is discriminatory. We'll switch. The waiter offered another table. No performance. We moved. After a while, Lily said thanks for not making that into a whole comedy routine. You can if you want. What? Joke about it. She smiled. True. Then she grew more serious. It isn't the height itself that annoys me. What is it? That people see it first and everything else second. Yes. People talk to me like. She stopped. Like you're younger, or weaker, or stupid. She nodded. I get it. You really do. Itre. She watched me for a second. What did you notice first? When? That first night? I thought a girl calling me skyscraper. She laughed. Romantic. Then the olives. Even better. Then I realized you were going to argue with everybody in the room, and I liked that very much. She smiled. A few more dates followed. Within 3 weeks, we officially called each other boyfriend and girlfriend. To our friends, practically nothing changed except the volume of teasing. Group picture. Jake Lily. Want me to get you a box. She said, want me to hit you. No. Sophie said. Ethan leaned down a little. I said I'm developing a chronic condition from this relationship. Lily said, we've dated 3 weeks. Very intense 3 weeks. She laughed. But our friends also established an unspoken rule very quickly. They could joke about us. They didn't joke at Lily. If a stranger crossed a line, the group closed it down immediately. That mattered. It meant Lily wasn't constantly surrounded by people she had to educate. A few weeks later, we became physically closer. Lily was very affectionate. Loved holding my hand, hooking an arm around mine, sitting pressed against me, kissing my cheek to get my attention. Sometimes, she deliberately used the height difference. Ethan. What? Lean down. Why? I'll tell you. I leaned. She kissed me again. Works. The first time we slept together was about 6 weeks into the relationship. She invited me over one evening. When I arrived, Lily stood near the kitchen. I need help, I said with a box. Where? She pointed. The box was on the floor. I looked at it, then her. Seriously. She started smiling. What? Weak excuse. But you came. You could have texted, come over. Where's the romance in that? I walked closer. So what's wrong with the box? Nothing. So deception. Minor. She climbed onto the kitchen counter. Now our faces were almost level. Lily looked very pleased. There. What? Normal height. You're sitting on a counter. Details. I stepped between her knees. Comfortable. I like the view. She wrapped her arms around my neck, kissed me soft at first, then longer. My hands settled around her waist. She pulled me closer. The tension built quickly. I stopped. Lily, what if we keep going? I know you want to. She looked straight at me. Yes. You're sure? Yes. Then she smiled. Ethan, I literally lured you here with a box that was sitting on the floor. I looked down at it. Terrible planning. Worked. Fair? I kissed her again. We didn't rush. Talked about protection boundaries, her comfort. No awkward lecture, just adults. And the rest of the evening became something completely different. The height difference occasionally made ordinary logistics funny, but intimacy itself had much more to do with how well we already listened to each other. Lily said clearly what she liked. I asked. She asked. We laughed when something felt awkward. No fetishizing her size. No treating her like some fragile little object. She made that clear almost immediately. I'm not made of glass. I know. Good. And then she pulled me closer herself. Afterward, she lay almost entirely across my chest. I looked down. You have your own pillow. Not anymore. Why? You're more comfortable. Is that an insult after sex? Compliment? Questionable. She kissed my chest. Be quiet. The next morning, Lily came out of the bathroom wearing my t-shirt. It almost looked like a short dress on her. I looked. She immediately said, don't. I didn't say anything. You have a face. What face? Calculating. I was wondering where your shorts are. Unnecessary. That's my shirt. Partnership. I laughed. She walked over. Kiss. I deliberately stood up completely straight. Lily looked all the way up. Ethan. What? Lean down. Can't hear you. Very funny. What? She lifted both arms. Come here. I asked permission to pick you up. Yes. I lifted her. She wrapped her legs around my waist and her arms around my neck. Now, We were face to face. There. Better. Demanding. You chose me. She kissed me. We got to brunch late. Lily had my t-shirt under her jacket. Sophie noticed the hem narrowed her eyes. That's not yours, Lily said, very observant. Jake looked at me, then her. Oh, I said, don't. He lifted both hands. I said nothing. Pause. Just happy for my friend Lily. Thank you. And he really did leave it there. Later, when Jake and I went for coffee, he said seriously, What? You haven't looked like this in a while. Like what? Happy. I looked at him. Was I miserable? No, but now it's obvious. That was unexpectedly warm. I nodded. Thanks. Sophie was apparently having a similar conversation with Lily. Lily later told me, he treats you well. Very. No weird comments. Only if I make them first. He doesn't pick you up without asking. Never, Sophie said. Then I approve. Lily said, thanks, Mom. Always. Our friends genuinely supported us not just through jokes. When the relationship got more serious, they simply included Lily and me as a couple. No jealousy, no weird, you're boring now. If we wanted a night alone, go. If we had a disagreement, talk. If one of us needed support, they didn't blindly take sides. That mattered more than people think. The first serious problem in our relationship had nothing to do with height or strangers. It was Lily's personality. She was too used to doing everything herself. Because when you're small, people spend your entire life trying to carry boxes, open doors, pick things up, reach things, move things, sometimes even when you never asked. So Lily developed a reflex. I've got it. Always. One day we were helping Sophie move a lot of boxes. Lily picked up a heavy one. I walked over. Give me that. No. Lily, I can carry it. I didn't say you couldn't. Then why? Because it's heavy. I'm fine. I can see that. She kept going. 10 minutes later, she picked up another box that was obviously too heavy. I said, let me take this one. You grab two smaller ones. She snapped, don't decide for me. I stopped. Okay. She walked away. An hour later, everyone was eating pizza on the steps. Lily was quiet. I asked, walk with me. She nodded. We moved away. Did I upset you? A little. Why? She exhaled. Sometimes it's especially hard around you. I was surprised. Why? Because you can literally make half of physical life easier. And I don't want to become the girlfriend who constantly calls the tall guy. I looked at her. I don't want you calling me because I'm tall. She waited. Call me because I'm your boyfriend. Pause. That's different. Exactly. But if I can do it myself, then do it yourself. If you don't want help, say no. I'll hear you. But sometimes I'm still going to offer. Not because I think you're weak. She looked at me. Then, why? Because I like helping people I care about. Her expression softened. Good answer. Eat tray. I can still refuse the box. Of course. Good. Then you can take the next heavy one. Very generous. She elbowed me. A mirror problem showed up a few months later. We had a big get-together. Tables needed moving. Equipment needed lifting. Jake automatically said, Ethan, can you help? Yeah. Then someone else. Ethan, can you move this? Sure. Then another. Ethan. Lily was watching. I was tired, still saying yes. Then one of the guys said, Ethan, we also need. Lily cut in. No. Everybody looked at her, including me. She said calmly, he's sitting down. I said I can do it. I know. She pointed toward everyone else. So can they. Silence. Jake was the first one up. She's right. He stood. I'll take it. Sophie said I'll help. 2 more people joined. Everything got done. Later alone I said thanks. For what? You noticed first. What? That I was tired. She smiled. You're difficult to see from down here, but occasionally I manage. I laughed. Then I got serious. I actually am used to it. To what? If I'm big, I'm supposed to be useful. She watched me. Familiar. Yeah. Just opposite. Apparently. She took my hand. So deal. What deal? I learned to accept help. You learn to say no. Fair? Good. She kissed me. Our friends heard about that conversation later, and what I liked was that they actually adjusted. Jake started asking, you have energy to help instead of automatically, you can do this. Sophie stopped trying to remove every physical task from Lily. She would just ask, you want help? If Lily said no, okay. Very simple respect, but it made the group feel like home. That summer, all of us rented a lake house for 4 days. Jake, Sophie, Mark, Rachel, me, Lily. The car was crowded. Jake said Ethan and Lily in the back. Lily said, "Why us?" "Space optimization." She slowly looked at him. "Did you just call me compact?" He said I didn't say anything. I said I recommend stopping. Jake said, "See, already defending." Lily said, "Don't need it." "I know, but appreciated." On the drive, she fell asleep on my shoulder. Sophie took a picture. When Lily woke up, "Delete that." Sophie said, "Never." "I'm serious." "It's cute." "I don't like cute." I said, "Extremely cute." Lily poked me. The house was beautiful, but there was a bedroom problem. Jake opened one door. Tiny bed, Ethan and Lily here. I looked. I physically don't fit. Lily said, "I fit enough for both of us." Sophie said, "No. Give them the bigger room." Jake said, "Of course. Newlyweds." "Both of us, we are not newlyweds." He said, "Yet." Lily threw a towel at him. The next day, kayaks. Lily and I shared one. She sat in front. I was behind. I'm captain. Why? Because I'm in front. You can't see what I'm doing. Exactly. So listen, 10 minutes later we were going in circles. From shore, Jake yelled, "Great captain." Lily shouted, "I'll drown you." I said, "Focus. You're paddling wrong." "I'm doing exactly what you told me." Then I explained it wrong. Historic admission. She twisted around. Do not take advantage of this moment. That evening campfire. Everyone sitting around. Quiet music. Lily under a blanket beside me. Sophie looked at us. "You actually fit really well together," Lily said, "because together we average normal height." Everybody laughed. Jake said no. Then why? Ethan finally argues with someone who wins. I said debatable. Lily said I won. In what? See, already arguing. Everybody laughed again. Later in our room, the conversation got serious. Lily sat on the bed. I sat beside her. "Can I ask something weird?" "Yes." "When we met?" "Yeah." "Was the height difference itself attractive to you?" I understood what she meant. In what way? She shrugged. "Some men get weird about short women." I understand. And for the first little while, I wondered if it was novelty. Like, look at the tiny girl next to me. Yeah. I took her hand. The first 5 minutes I noticed your height. She listened, because it's impossible not to. Okay. Then you started arguing with me, the cabinet, and Jake all at the same time. She smiled. It was a bad cabinet. Obviously. And then? Then your height became one characteristic. Like my eyes, your hair, the fact that you hate olives. I don't hate olives. Green, good, black, better. She laughed. Then I said, I don't love 4'9". Lily froze because that was the first time I had used the word. I continued, I love you. Silence. She stared. Seriously? Yes. You chose right now. No. I've wanted to say it for a while. Her eyes became wet. I love you too. I leaned down. She wrapped her arms around me. Kiss, then another. That evening became another intimate moment between us. Quiet, warm, no first-time nerves. Our friends were in nearby rooms, which meant we were trying not to be loud. That itself occasionally turned into comedy. At one point, Lily started laughing. I whispered, What? Nothing. Why are you laughing? Because Jake is going to look at us with that face in the morning. Then don't give him material. She covered her mouth. Shut up. The next morning, Jake saw us. Looked. Lily said don't. He said I didn't say anything. Sophie said he didn't. Mark said none of us did. Lily said, I hate you. I said no, she's a little bit right now. Everybody laughed. Then Sophie hugged her. Happy, Lily. Very. Then that's all. That was our group. You could joke endlessly, but eventually the real question was always, are you happy? If yes, they were with you. About a year and a half later, Lily and I moved in together. Apartment hunting became an engineering problem. Lily opened the kitchen cabinets. No. What? Upper cabinets are too high. They're fine for me. Obviously. We can put frequent use stuff lower. She looked at me. Compromise. Yeah. In the bathroom, she looked at the shower head. That's low for you. A little. We can change the mount. I smiled. You suggested adapting something for me. What? You adjust for me, and I for you. She understood. There. So we did. Kitchen, lower and middle shelves, frequent use things. Top shelves mostly mine. Lily stuck a label up there, giant storage. I put one on the bottom drawer, smuggler compartment. She said extremely mature relationship. Absolutely. I bought a sturdy folding step stool. She saw it. You bought this? No. For who, Kevin? Who's Kevin? Haven't decided yet? She stared. For me? Maybe. That's actually sweet. Don't say that. She used it. And somehow that became a good symbol. I didn't sprint over every time she needed something. Let me get it. She didn't refuse everything on principle. If she wanted me, Ethan, get this. Yeah. If she didn't step stool, no tragedy. Living together was easy. She physically took up less space. Her stuff took up 3 times more. I opened the closet. How? She said, what? You're 4'9", and why is your clothing 60% of the closet? Height doesn't affect quantity. Clearly, you're huge, and you have 5 shirts. I own more than 5. 7. 20. Half are identical. Different shades? She said men. Sex remained a natural part of our life, too. Lily still occasionally used the kitchen counter. Normal height. You're still saying that because it's convenient. Sometimes she asked me to lift her. Sometimes, no lifting today. Okay. She valued that the question stayed a question. No automatic movement. No, you're small, so I decide. That mattered to her. And over time, it mattered a lot to me too, because trust worked both directions. 2.5 years into the relationship, I bought a ring. Our friends knew before Lily did only because I asked Sophie about ring size. She immediately started crying. You're serious? Yes. Oh my God. Quiet. When? Couple weeks? Jake found out through Sophie called me. Brother. What? Finally. We've been together 2.5 years. I've been waiting since the cabinet. I laughed, and that gave me the idea. Go back to where we met. Jake's house. The same kitchen cabinet still there. We organized a normal get-together. Lily suspected nothing, or at least I thought she suspected nothing. At one point she said, "You're weird today." No. Yes. You're imagining it. She narrowed her eyes. Okay. About an hour later, Jake said, "Lily, can you get something from the cabinet?" She looked at him. Are you serious? He said, please. She walked over, opened it. On the top shelf sat a small box. She stared. Ethan. I was standing nearby. What? There's something up there. Get it. She slowly turned. Very funny. 3. You're awful. I walked over, reached up, took the little box. She still thought it was a joke, then saw the size froze. No. What? That's... I opened it. Ring. Her eyes immediately filled. Ethan. I smiled. The first time you called me over here, it was because you couldn't reach a jar. I could. Obviously. I just didn't want to. Obviously. I went down on one knee. She looked at me, then started laughing harder through the tears. What? You're finally normal height. From the next room, everybody started laughing. I turned my head. Seriously. Jake yelled, keep going. Lily said, they're listening. Yes. Terrible. Ignore them. I took her hand. For once, our faces really were almost level. Lily Bennett. She got serious. I didn't fall in love with you because you're short. Or because we look funny together in pictures, which we do. She poked me with her free hand. Ethan. Sorry. Pause. I fell in love with a woman who takes up far more room in my life than I could ever have guessed from that first cabinet. She laughed. That's a strange speech. I'm nervous. You? Yes. Her face softened even more. I held up the ring. Will you marry me? Yes. Immediately. Yes. Yes. I stood. She threw her arms around me. I lifted her. Permission? Through the laughter, this time you can. She kissed me, and then everybody came out of the other room. Sophie was already crying. Jake raised his hands. I told you. Lily said you were listening again. He said tradition. Sophie hugged her. I'm so happy. Mark shook my hand. Rachel hugged both of us. Nobody tried to make the moment about themselves. They just stood around, laughing, crying, congratulating us. Jake eventually said, seriously, you two are one of those couples where it was obvious immediately. Lily said, then why did it take 2.5 years? We didn't say Ethan was fast. I said I'm standing right here. I know. We got married a year later. All our friends were part of it. Sophie beside Lily, Jake beside me, Mark, Rachel, the whole group. During the photo rehearsal, the photographer offered Lily a small platform for some of the shots. She said, "That's fine," then looked at me. "But I want some normal ones too." Of course. By then, our height difference wasn't something to hide or emphasize. It was just a fact. During the ceremony, Lily walked toward me, and for the first time in my life, I did not think she's tiny. Not once. I only saw her face. She reached me. Sophie handed off the bouquet. Lily whispered, "Don't cry." "I'm not crying." "Your eyes. Allergy to weddings. Severe." She smiled. At the reception, Jake gave a speech. When Ethan and Lily met, she asked him to get a jar from the top shelf. Lily said, "I did not ask." I said, "You absolutely did." I assigned a task. Jake said, "Of course." Everybody laughed. And several years later, Ethan finally realized the best way to become the same height as Lily was to get down on one knee. Lily stopped. Then, "Okay." I looked at her. She said, "That was good." Jake bowed. "Thank you." Then Sophie spoke. No jokes at first. I saw Lily in relationships where she constantly had to prove that she was an adult, capable, strong, independent woman. Lily looked at her. Sophie continued. With Ethan, I saw her stop having to prove anything. Then she looked at me. And Ethan spent most of his life being treated like the person who could lift everything, fix everything, handle everything. Lily was the first person who started asking who was taking care of him. My throat tightened. "So I love both of you, and I'm really glad you found each other." Lily was crying. I was close. Jake said, "Now, my speech looks terrible." Everybody laughed. That was the perfect balance of our friend group. 5 seconds of sincerity. Then somebody rescued everyone with a joke. During wedding pictures, the photographer said Ethan leaned down a little. Lily said no. Everybody looked. She stepped onto a small platform. I leaned slightly. "There," the photographer said. "Perfect." From far away, Jake yelled, "Put him on his knees, Lily." Jake. Everybody laughed. Marriage didn't magically change much. We came home. The top cabinet still said giant storage. The bottom drawer still said smuggler compartment. Lily still sometimes called, "Ethan." "What?" "Get this." "What?" "Just come here." I arrived. She pointed at the top shelf. "Glasses. You have the step stool." "I know." "Then?" "You're closer." Powerful logic. "Working." "Yes." "I got them." She said, "Thanks." "You're welcome." Sometimes the opposite happened. My back hurt after a long day. She noticed. "Sit." "I'm fine." "Ethan." "What?" "We had a deal." I sat. She brought water, sat beside me. "Rest?" "I can?" "I know." That was exactly it. She always knew I could. So help never felt like doubt. I always knew she could. So when I offered a hand, it was an offer, not a judgment. Our friends were still around. We met often. Jake, Sophie, Mark, Rachel, sometimes new people, but the core remained. One night, everybody came over for dinner. I was cooking. Lily was setting the table. She reached for the glasses, couldn't try to find the stool. Someone had moved it. She looked at me. I deliberately kept chopping vegetables. "Ethan." "What?" "Help." I turned. Just like that. She said, "Yes. I'm your wife. Get the damn glasses." I smiled. Growth. She said, "You want the couch tonight." Jake from the table, how romantic. Lily said, "You want dinner or not?" He said, silent. I got the glasses. She kissed my cheek. "Thank you." Sophie said, "Still works." Jake said, "It's their love language." I said, "Do not start." Later, everybody left. We cleaned the kitchen. Lily looked at the high cabinet, then me. "You know what's funny?" "What?" "The first time I did call you over, because of your height." "I know. If you were 5'10", maybe we never would have talked." "Brutal. Just fact." "I'm grateful to the cabinet." She smiled. "And the olives?" "Black, obviously." Then she got more serious. "And after that, the height barely mattered." I looked at the upper shelf. "Not entirely." "Why?" "I'm still extremely useful." She hit me with a towel. I laughed. She came closer, lifted her arms. "Come here." I leaned. "Like this." "Lower." "I'm aging." "You're 32. My spine knows." She rolled her eyes. I simply lifted her into my arms. She laughed. "Cheating." Working? She wrapped her arms around my neck. Very. She kissed me. During our first months together, people constantly asked about the height difference. Honestly, some still do. 6'5", 4'9", almost a foot and a half, very noticeable in photos. Occasionally useful in kitchens. On airplanes, Lily laughs that she has the kind of legroom I would pay extra for. I tell her, at least I can reach the overhead bags. She says, symbiosis. But our relationship never worked because I was big and she was small. If anything, the useful part was what we learned from the difference. Lily had spent her life proving being short didn't make her weak. I spent mine absorbing the opposite expectation. If you're big people, assume you're strong, physically, emotionally, practically. Lift this. Help. Handle it. You'll be fine. And we met somewhere in the middle? I learned not to help without asking just because I could. She learned not to interpret help as an insult just because she could do something herself. She taught me to say I'm tired. I taught her to say help. And our friends were there for every stage. Not the kind of friends who see a new relationship and immediately try to test it. Not jealous friends. Not people who stir up drama. People who saw our first kiss and said finally. After our first serious disagreement, talk. When I was exhausted, we'll carry it. When Lily needed support, we're here. When I bought the ring, Sophie cried before I even finished explaining the plan. When Lily said yes, they walked out of the next room and hugged us. Sometimes a good love story isn't two people against the world. Sometimes the world around you is also saying, yeah, this is good. Take care of it. We were lucky enough to have that kind of world. One evening, several years after the wedding, we were back at Jake's place. Same house, same kitchen, remodeled, and somehow the same high cabinet. Lily stood in front of it, looked up then at me. Ethan. No. She blinked. I didn't say anything yet. I know. Then why no? You can reach it yourself. I cannot. Where's the stool? Not here. Jake from the living room, do not involve me in your marriage. Sophie laughed. Lily looked at me. Leaned down. Why? Secret. I smiled. I remembered that one. Walked over. Bent down. More. Again. Yes, lower. She kissed my cheek just like the first time. I straightened. That was the secret. Not anymore. From the living room, Jake shouted, I've seen this one before. Lily said eavesdropping is rude. Everybody laughed. I looked at her. So what do you need from the cabinet? She smiled. Nothing. So that was a trap. Maybe. Very mature wife. You married me. True. She took my hand. And I thought about how ridiculous some of the most important things in life look at the beginning. Not a grand confession, not destiny, not rain. Just a 4'9" woman standing under a cabinet and telling a tall stranger, hey skyscraper, get me a jar. I got it, then another, then some glasses. Then we started talking. She made me lean down, kissed my cheek. A few weeks later, kissed me properly. A few months later, we both knew it was serious. A few years later, I got down on one knee myself. And for the first time in our lives, we were almost the same height. If you ask Lily, she'll say, that's why she said yes. Finally got to look you directly in the eyes. If you ask me, the reason is different. I fell in love with a woman who had spent most of her life looking up at people and never once let them convince her that meant she was smaller in any way that mattered. And according to her, she fell in love with the guy who on day one looked at the situation and decided the problem wasn't that she was 4'9". The problem was that the cabinet was too tall. Sometimes everything really does begin with the right answer. Late one night we came home. Lily kicked off her shoes. I hung up my jacket. She looked at me. Ethan. What? Lean down. How many years has it been, and you're still bossy? Lean down. I did. She kissed me. Then lower. My back. Old man. I sighed, picked her up. She immediately wrapped her arms around my neck. There. You understand this is cheating. I didn't do anything. Exactly. She kissed me again. I smiled. Very convenient. What? Now you never need a tall cabinet as an excuse. She narrowed her eyes. I never needed the cabinet. I stopped. I knew it. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. Prove it. The second time you asked me for glasses, they were already on the counter. She went silent for a second. You noticed. Of course. And you said nothing. I liked when you called me over. Her expression softened. Really? Really? She kissed me. Then I guess we were both cheating. Apparently, and that is probably the most accurate ending. She pretended she needed a tall guy to reach things. I pretended I didn't understand why she kept asking specifically about me. Our friends understood from the first night. We took a little longer, but we got there. So yes, I'm tall. Very. Lily is short. Very. People still notice that first, but if you spend one day around us, you figure out pretty quickly that the biggest thing in our relationship was never the height difference. It was the amount of space one 4'9" woman managed to occupy in my life. And judging by how much of our closet she owns now, she's still expanding.